The question that haunts history: they were 115 men, women, and children. They had names. They had dreams. They had a governor who loved them and left them. In part 1, we followed John White across the Atlantic and back. We stood with him at the empty fort. We read those carved letters. Croatoan, but a word is not an answer. A direction is not a destination. And in the 4 centuries since that August morning in 1590, no one has ever truly explained what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke. Until now, we examine the 4 most compelling theories. And one of them may be the truth. The first theory is the darkest one, and it comes not from legend, but from a confession. In 1607, 17 years after White's return, English settlers established Jamestown, Virginia. Their leader, Captain John Smith, gathered intelligence from the powerful Powhatan chief, the same man who would later become famous as the father of Pocahontas. The Powhatan chief told Smith something chilling. He claimed that the Roanoke colonists had lived for years among the Chesapeake people, a tribe south of his territory. They had integrated. They had survived. They were alive as late as 1607. And then he had ordered them, killed, all of them, men, women, children, slaughtered not out of ancient hatred, but because his own priests had prophesied that a nation rising from the east would one day destroy his empire. The English were that nation. Smith recorded seeing copper objects and a metal slitting knife tools that could only have come from English settlers in Powhatan villages. Physical proof that the colonists had lived among the tribes. Physical proof that they had died there too. But what if the story did not end in blood? What if it ended in something far more remarkable: survival through transformation? The Croatoan people, led by their chief Manteo, a man who had twice crossed the Atlantic and walked the streets of London, were the colonists' closest allies on the island. When food ran out, when English supply ships stopped coming, the most logical move was the one the carving suggested. Go to Croatoan. Over the following decades, English explorers and settlers occasionally reported something strange: Native Americans in the Carolina interior who had gray eyes, who knew isolated English words, who carried European surnames Dare, Harvey, Cooper, passed down through generations. As if the names themselves refused to die, in the 19th century, the Lumbee people of North Carolina, a Native American tribe of thousands, formally claimed descent from both the Croatoan and the Roanoke colonists. Their oral traditions spoke of ancestors who came from across the sea and never left. And in 2020, archaeologists excavating a site on Hatteras Island, the historic home of the Croatoan, found English pottery, iron tools, and a signet ring bearing a lion crest buried in layers dating to the late 1580s and 1590s. The colonists did not vanish. They arrived. They stayed. They became part of something older and deeper than England had ever imagined. England and Spain were at war. And Spain knew about Roanoke. Spanish intelligence reports from the 1580s and 1590s show that King Philip II of Spain was fully aware of the English settlement on Roanoke Island. His governors in Florida, just days of sailing to the south, received orders to locate. and eliminate the English colony before it could grow into a permanent military foothold. At least 2 Spanish expeditions were dispatched northward along the Carolina coast specifically to find Roanoke. Historical records show the Spanish searched, but could find no trace. 2 possible explanations exist. Either the colonists had already moved inland beyond Spanish reach, or the Spanish found them, destroyed all evidence, and simply never recorded it in documents that survived. The Spanish were meticulous destroyers of rival colonies. In 1565, they had massacred an entire French Huguenot settlement in Florida Fort Caroline, killing hundreds, and leaving no survivors to tell the story. Could they have done the same to Roanoke? The timeline fits. The motive was absolute, and the silence that followed on both the English and Spanish sides is exactly what a successful cover-up would look like. History does not always record what happened. Sometimes it only records what the victors allowed to survive. And then there is the theory that science cannot fully answer. Before the English ever arrived, the Carolina coast had a reputation among local tribes. The Outer Banks, that thin strip of barrier islands between the mainland and the open Atlantic, was considered a threshold, a place between worlds, where the living and the dead shared the same fog. The Croatoan tribe, whom the English had antagonized in the years before the colony, were known practitioners of what the colonists called witchcraft. English accounts from 1585 describe a Croatoan shaman placing a curse on a settlement after a conflict over a stolen silver cup. Within days, every colonist who had been present fell violently ill. When John White returned in 1590 and found the fort empty, no fire, no bodies, no sign of struggle, some of the sailors on his ship refused to go ashore. They had heard the stories. They felt what they described as an unnatural stillness over the island. Modern paranormal researchers have noted that the site of the original Roanoke fort sits on land with unusually high electromagnetic readings. Animals avoid the area. Trees in the central clearing grow in patterns that locals say have not changed in 400 years. Whether you believe in curses or not, something happened on that island that left no trace, no bodies, no explanation. And perhaps the most honest thing we can say is this: some doors, once opened, do not close again. 4 theories, 4 possible endings for 117 human lives. A massacre ordered by a chief protecting his empire. An integration so complete that English names became Native American inheritance. A Spanish attack so thorough it erased itself from history. Or something older and stranger than any of these, a silence that the land itself chose to keep. The truth is, it may be all of them or none of them. History rarely arrives in clean conclusions. What we know for certain is this: 115 people stepped onto that island with hope in their hearts. Among them was a 9-day-old girl named Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America. She learned to breathe on that island. She took her first steps somewhere in those forests. Whatever happened next, she lived it. She faced it. She was part of it, And somewhere in the na of the Lumbee people, in the soil of Hatteras Island, in the carved letters on a rotting post, she still is. The Lost Colony of Roanoke was never just a mystery. It was a beginning that history forgot to finish writing. Perhaps that is our job now. If you want to explore more untold stories of history, subscribe. Because the past is never as finished as we think.